A truck driver pulled over on a quiet road outside Philadelphia. He was checking muskrat traps. Nothing unusual. Then he saw it, a cardboard box, half hidden in the brush. He almost didn't stop. He almost drove away. If he had, this story would not exist. Inside that box was a small body, a child, no older than 6, naked, cold, forgotten. For the next 65 years, investigators would call him only one thing: the boy in the box. Thousands of detectives, decades of work, one of the largest investigations in American history, and for most of that time, nobody even knew his name. This is the story of how a little boy disappeared into nothing, and how 6 decades later, the truth finally surfaced. But not all of it. Stay until the end, because what they discovered will break something inside you. It was February 25th, 1957, LaSalle College area, Philadelphia. The temperature had dropped overnight. Frost covered the ground. The man checking his traps almost missed the box entirely. It looked like ordinary trash, cardboard half collapsed, sitting in the weeds near the road. But something made him look closer. He lifted the lid, and what he saw, he would never forget for the rest of his life. A small boy, lying on his back, arms at his sides. His body had been carefully washed. His fingernails had been recently trimmed. Someone had cut his hair badly, shortly before or after his death. This was not an accident. This was not abandonment in panic. This was something else, something deliberate. Police arrived within the hour. What they found made even seasoned detectives go quiet. The boy weighed only 30 pounds. He was estimated to be between 4 and 6 years old. His body showed signs of malnutrition, old scars, evidence of past injuries that had healed improperly, as if he had never received medical care. The cause of death: multiple blunt force injuries to the head. But here is what disturbed investigators most. Someone had taken the time to bathe this child's body after death. Someone had cut his hair. Someone had folded a blanket beneath him almost gently before placing him in that box. Whoever did this did not see it as discarding trash. They saw it as something closer to a burial, a twisted, secretive, hidden burial for someone they clearly knew. Within days, the case became a media sensation across Philadelphia and beyond. But despite enormous public attention, despite a sketch artist creating what the boy might have looked like in life, despite a clay model of his face being shown on national television, nobody came forward. Nobody recognized him. Nobody claimed him. Think about that. A child went missing. A child died violently. A child's face was shown to millions of Americans. And not one person said, "That's my son. That's my nephew. That's the boy from down the street." How does a child simply not exist to anyone? The investigation that followed became one of the most extensive in American police history. Detectives distributed over 300,000 flyers with the boy's photograph. They printed his face on gas bills sent to homes across the city, hoping someone would recognize him. They checked hospital birth records across the entire region going back years. They investigated orphanages. They investigated foster homes. They investigated every reported missing child case within hundreds of miles. Nothing matched. It was as if this child had been born and had lived his entire short life completely off the grid. No school records, no medical records, no birth certificate that anyone could find. A child who, according to every system meant to track human beings, did not officially exist. Over the decades, theories multiplied. One persistent lead involved a foster home located near where the body was found. Investigators learned that a woman running an unlicensed foster care operation had taken in several children, including one matching the boy's description, shortly before the discovery. She denied any connection. She was never charged. She died decades later. The truth, if she knew it, dying with her. Another theory suggested the boy may have been purchased or informally adopted through underground channels that existed in the 1950s, networks operating completely outside legal oversight, moving children between families with no paperwork, no records, no protection. If that was true, it explained everything. It explained why no one reported him missing, because officially, to the world, he had never been there to begin with. For decades, the case went cold. Detectives retired. Files gathered dust. The boy remained unidentified, unclaimed, and unburied in any conventional sense for years before a local Catholic organization finally arranged a proper burial. Hundreds of strangers attended his funeral in 1957, people who never knew him. who never met him, who simply could not bear the thought of a child being buried without anyone there to mourn him. His gravestone read simply, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." For 65 years, he remained exactly that, unknown. But in 2019, something changed. A team of genetic genealogists using DNA technology that did not exist when the boy died began working the case using a method that had recently helped solve other decades-old mysteries. They extracted DNA from the boy's remains. They built a family tree backward, generation by generation, searching for genetic relatives in public DNA databases. It took years. But in December 2022, after 65 years, 4 months, and reportedly the largest single investment of time in Philadelphia Police Department history, they found him. His name was Joseph Augustus Zarelli, a name that had been waiting, lost, for 65 years. But here is what you need to understand. Identifying his name did not solve his murder. Investigators believe he may have been placed for adoption or informally given away as an infant, possibly explaining why no official birth or family records connected to him in any traceable way. They believe whoever raised him, whoever ultimately killed him, existed entirely outside any system that could be searched, traced, or verified. His killer's identity remains completely unknown. Whoever bathed his small body, whoever cut his hair, whoever placed him gently into that box and left him in the cold, has never been identified, has never been arrested, has never answered for what happened to Joseph Zarelli. Today, his grave has a new headstone. His real name is finally carved into marble instead of the words "unknown boy." Investigators continue working the case. They have identified him, but they have not found justice for him. Somewhere, possibly still alive, possibly long dead, is the person who held this child as an infant, who maybe even loved him in their own broken way, and who ultimately ended his life and discarded him on a quiet road outside Philadelphia. That person has lived an entire life since 1957. They may have had other children, other grandchildren, an entire family who has no idea what they did. They may have walked past Joseph Zarelli's story on the news, may have read his name when it was finally revealed in 2022, may have known in that moment exactly what it meant, and said nothing. This case forces us to ask something uncomfortable. How many other children like Joseph existed in 1957? How many exist somewhere in the world right now? Children who live and die completely outside any system designed to protect them. Children no one is looking for because no one officially knows they are missing. Joseph Zarelli got his name back. After 65 years, someone finally said it out loud. But thousands of other unidentified victims across this country are still waiting, still nameless, still unclaimed, still hoping that someday someone builds the right family tree, finds the right DNA match, and gives them back what was taken, their identity, their humanity, their name. Do you think someone in Joseph's family is still alive today, knowing exactly what happened? Tell me your theory in the comments below. If this case affected you the way it affected me, there's a reason you keep coming back to stories like this. Subscribe, because somewhere there's always another name waiting to be found.